Karin, it is like, in the physical events, you still get traffic jam, and that is how people get delayed. And on online event, it is still the same because lot many people have got certain internet issues, and then they have login challenges and all. And
Yeah.
but finally they turn up, and then I hope that maximum members of the community would get benefited. Just for the records and the ground rules, this session is being recorded. In case if you have any reservations against the recording, then you may kindly leave. All the views being expressed by the speaker and participants are the views of their own as an individual uh, in their respective community and knowledge sharing activities. So these are the 2 points I just wanted to make. And we start with the community update. Now we are 1200 plus members community spread across 18 countries. So now we are like, reached 18 countries. So not, I would say that our members belong to these 18 countries. And thank you so much for everyone's active participation. And we are happy to have you. This community, known as TMI Community, the theme of the community is technology management and innovation. So we discuss only three things: technology management and innovation. Except these three topics, we avoid exchanging any, greetings or political message or fun messages. So that has been the secret sauce of our community, and now we are 1200 members plus strong community. The members include various CXOs, industry leaders, business professionals, business leaders, entrepreneurs. We have got business owners, we have academicians, we have got researchers, we have got students, postgraduate students in this community. So think of a community wherein you get to understand, interact, and do a fellowship with other people, other professionals in your industry as well as from other countries. So this is where TMI community for you. We are today and tomorrow we are having TMI Walkathon, and this is Walkathon is a initiative wherein the participants of the community walk, and then we walk total 21 kilometers in 2 days. So this is what we do during the weekend and weekdays. All the community members walk 10,000 steps a day. So that is decent 8.5 kilometer, 8 to 10 kilometer distance, which is being walked by everyone. Going forward, I would also like to invite my fellow member. Do we have? Yes, Biren Parikh. So recently, we also did a collaborative project and published a article, and this article was published as a cover story in Infrastructure Today magazine. So I have one of my fellow authors on this call. So Biren bhai, welcome. Would you like to share your views on this feat?
So hi.
Yeah, good to see you. I guess he's in transit. So
Yeah,
he,
yeah, true.
yeah, if
So
you can
it's a
just,
good experience. It's a good experience, and we are having a 2-3 collaborative experience altogether with the TMI friends, and you might aware like writing any single-handed. It's very difficult, and have a 4 5 member team member have a collaborative idea and get a new idea, and that's why we are having a what we call good exposure and good techno what we call techno article. We can write it out. Thank you, Chintan bhai and team.
thank you so much. And let us, so these are the community updates for the week. And now let us formally begin our webinar by Karin. Thank you so much. Karin, we are indeed grateful to you for your time and your experience sharing session. We welcome you to TMI community, and over to you, madam. kindly take over. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you, for joining. It's an honor to be here today and to share a bit about one of my favorite topics, space and Mars exploration, with the TMI community today. So I have called the presentation to Mars, and I put the question, are we there yet? So today we're looking a bit at, what do we have to go to Mars, and what is still missing, and how can we actually close the gaps? First of all, a little bit about me as a person. I am from my educational background. I have degrees in business information systems and psychology. I am currently in the final stages of my PhD, which I do in management with a specialization of leadership and organizational change. And I've also studied intercultural business communication at university, and I'm a university accredited trainer for intercultural management. From my background, I was born and schooled in Germany. Once I finished my school, I moved out, and I have since lived in 9 countries and worked in 26 countries. And saying that, it's not that I have been to business trips to 26 countries, but have really been working there for longer term. And I am currently calling Bratislava, the capital of Slovakia, my home. And in terms of work, I'm a global project manager, and maybe even an interplanetary project manager. I'm a lecturer at various universities all over the world, a speaker at conferences, a trainer and workshop leader for intercultural competence, for project management, and for leadership skills. Yeah, and I will tell you a little bit later how I came to work in the space industry. But first things first. A question that I get usually asked: why would we go to Mars? Just why? Because it's expensive, it's complex. So why do we do it? There are different reasons for it. First of all, from the humanity perspective, we have to go there because it's there. As humans, we have this kind of built-in exploration genes. Yeah, if there is a mountain, we have to climb it. If there is an ocean, we have to sail it. And if there is another planet, we have to go there. It's human to explore. From a research perspective, a lot of research for Earth is done in space. For example, creating new cures for cancer, creating better ways of managing the environment, etc. And there's long lists of how research in space actually benefits Earth, and that's because research in space is done in microgravity. So you can, for example, grow more symmetrical crystals without gravity as we have it here on Earth. Then there is the application perspective. Yeah, information from space is used on Earth. We have navigation satellites that help us navigating the roads on Earth. We have weather satellites that help us preparing ourselves for the next rainfall, the next storm, etc. Even its data from space is used to manage fishery. It's used to manage agriculture and many more. This is data we actually get from satellites that are in space. And then, of course, the economic perspective, because what we must remember that all money spent in space exploration is actually spent on Earth. That means companies on Earth, like my company, for example, is earning money from working in space exploration. And according to the latest reports, the current revenue worldwide is like $350 billion. And this is supposed to grow to $1 trillion in 2040. That is like 20 years away from now. So it's a big business, and many companies and individuals on Earth benefit from that space exploration. Yeah, then I would like to share a couple of facts about Mars, so to understand what we are talking about. A day on Mars is 24 hours, 39 minutes, and 35 seconds long. So it's very similar to a day on Earth. It's a little bit longer. Mars has two small moons, Phobos and Deimos. This is also very similar to Earth. We have 3 moons. We have the big one that we can all see, which is called Luna. And then we have 2 very small ones that don't really have names. There's just dust moons, and they have just letters and numbers, and I can't even remember what they're called. But we don't see them. We only see the big one, our Luna. How did Mars exploration start? The first flyby, it was a spacecraft called Mariner 4, was actually in 1965. That was the first time when we got close-up pictures of Mars. And then in 1971, the first space probe actually entered Mars orbit. It was called Mariner 9. And in 1976, actually 2 spacecraft landed on Mars, Viking 1 and Viking 2. But also about 2/3 of all Mars missions so far have failed. And this is why we have to still do a lot of work to get there, especially when we are thinking of bringing humans to Mars. A journey to Mars with the current rocket engines will take approximately 7 months to get there, and 7 months back. And actually, we have to stay there once we are there for about half a year for the next opportunity to get back, because Earth and Mars have to be aligned in a certain way that the journey will not, but the planets will not be kind of opposite each other's, and we have to go halfway around the sun to actually meet Earth again. So the minimum duration of going to Mars and coming back will be more than a year and a half. And this is what we have to keep in mind. Mars is close to Earth approximately every 18 months. It was very close to us in August. This is why we saw so many, well, it was not the closest. The closest it will be when we land. We saw a lot of satellites leaving for Mars, or spaceships leaving for Mars during August, because that's then the window that opens for actually landing on Mars or getting into Mars orbit once it's close, because it's also not only a question of time, but the further away Mars is from Earth, the more fuel we have to take, and that makes the thing more expensive and more complex. So at its farthest distance, Mars is approximately 400 million kilometers from Earth, and the closest distance is approximately 55 million kilometers. And the absolute closest, it only gets every 15 years. So the next time that Mars is really close to us will be in 2033. And I know some companies have, especially one company, has plans to land humans on Mars in 2033. I personally have entered a calendar entry for myself for the 2nd of August of 2048, because that's what I think it's realistic that we can actually land humans on Mars. But maybe someone surprises me and we get there earlier.
Karin, are you sharing your screen?
Yes?
Are you sharing your screen, or you're just setting up the context?
I am sharing my screen.
No, we are not able to see that. You'll have to click on present now and then do it.
I have, and it says I am sharing. I can stop sharing.
Yeah, and then start once again, please.
And click share again, but let me just say. Let me try again. Yeah, it's this Google Meet. It's not very stable, unfortunately. So, can you see it now?
Yes, now it is about to pop up. Yes, we can see the screen now.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks for letting me know. So, cool fact about Mars is that it's the only planet inhabited only by robots. We have currently 4 rovers living on Mars, and there is a 5th one on the way. That's a little bit background about Mars. Yeah, the question, are we there yet? Some of you or all of you might have heard about SpaceX and their Starship that is currently being tested and is being constructed to actually bring people to our neighboring planet. But we are missing quite a lot of things. First of all, the rocket is not ready. Even if we had a rocket, we haven't got the right fuel and fueling systems. I mean, we have the right fuel, but we need to produce fuel on Mars because we can't bring enough fuel to go to Mars and have still enough fuel left to go back. We need to find a way to actually produce fuel on Mars. We have no water supply for humans. We have no housing finally designed for humans. We have no spacesuits designed. We don't know how we are supplying people with food on Mars. We haven't got the proper psychological and psychosocial models developed. We haven't thought about culture on Mars. We are far away from having proper legislation to get to Mars. We are still working on the human-robot interfaces, and these are just some examples of many, 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 many things that are missing today in order to get humans to Mars. And when I talk to people, it's usually about rockets. Yeah, let's build a rocket and then we can go there. No, that's not it. The rocket is the easiest thing that we have to solve. It's pure engineering, and it's a complicated system, but we can solve it. We will be much more struggling with human factors, with psychological and psychosocial problems when we want to take humans to Mars. So now we see that there are still so many things missing. What can we do to actually bridge that gap? And one of the things we are doing is analog Mars missions. And what is an analog Mars mission? An analog Mars mission is a simulation of life on Mars. So we choose areas of the world, depending on the experiments we want to conduct, that in some aspects are very much like Mars, and we kind of pretend to be on Mars and to live on Mars and to solve the problems that we come across. So one of the projects I'm working in is part of the Amadi analog mission program, where the Austrian Space Forum has already for many years been conducting analog Mars missions. And this program looks first of all at the mission performance, how well that's the performance of the overall missions, not of a specific experiment. How well was the mission planned? How well was it organized? Did we achieve everything that we wanted to achieve, etc.? Then we, of course, need a mission support center. This is like back from the Apollo times, the Houston control center. It's a bit smaller, and again, we need to experiment how best to set up such a mission support center, because we can't copy paste the setup from Apollo, because the moon is of course so much closer. You can go to the moon in 3 days. You're there. So it's still very close. There is hardly any communication delay, and that's why the mission center has to be set up in a different way. And we again have no experience with that, so we need to test things and find the best setup. Field operation, of course, it's interfaces, it's safety regulations, it's how do we set up the workflows, the processes, etc., to provide the people going to Mars with the best possible support. And that, of course, then includes also team training. We do at the Austrian Space Forum analog mission training. I've also been trained in these ones. And to give us an insight of how the mission will work and how we as a mission support will also be supporting the analog astronauts from our mission support center. Last not least, we're working also on the spacesuit simulator, and I will share a bit more information about that in a minute. In general, the Austrian Space Forum is a citizen science organization, so everybody can become a member and can contribute, can work on there, but it's led by professionals, by astrophysicists, etc., working on hardware, working on research, and also on the international collaboration for space explorations. Also collaborating, of course, with institutional organizations like currently the Israeli Space Agency, with DMARS, with the European Space Agency, with NASA in some cases as well. So if we simulate Mars, we have to find some Mars-like surface, and our test site. And if you think for yourself, which photo of the two was taken on Mars? Was it the left one or the right one? So the left one, as you can see, photo credit NASA, that is actually a photo from Mars. And the right one is from the Austrian Space Forum. It's a photo of the testing site in the Oman desert. And why do we do these analog missions? We need to study the equipment, like how do I operate a rover? How do I handle the instruments? which buttons do I have to push? Yeah, how do I change a battery in a rover? And things like that. Also, we develop platform for testing life detection. Yeah, because if we go to Mars, one of the big questions that we want to answer is, of course, is there life? Yeah, or was there life? Analog missions also help to spread the message why space exploration is so important. And then, of course, evolve the know-how of managing Mars expeditions. Yeah, this is, for example, a spacesuit simulator that we will also test in the next Mars simulation. It's not a suit that we will wear on Mars. It's a simulator suit. So, for example, this suit weighs 50 kilo. The real suit on Mars will weigh 150 kilos. But because Earth has 3 times stronger gravity, 50 kilos on Earth feel like 150 kilos on Mars. And this is very equipped with different sensors, different instruments, etc., to enable the analog astronauts to work. Now, I'm a flight planner for the Amadi 20 mission. And as a flight planner, it's very similar to what I normally do as a project manager. I manage experiments that will be conducted in the Mars simulation. Yeah, I plan the experiments, I collect all the information about it, I communicate with the teams, etc. So here is some photos of previous simulated Mars missions. There we went into caves. Yeah, because we wanted to simulate the lava tubes on Mars that could be a potential habitat for astronauts. This one was taken in 2018 in Oman. Again, you can see the similarity on the top, the research site in Oman, and at the bottom Mars. It looks very, very similar. There is the habitat for the analog astronauts where they live during the mission. You see it's also got some nice sunsets. And when the astronauts want to leave the habitat, they have to actually put on spacesuits. They are not allowed to go out without spacesuits because we pretend we are on Mars. And here they are just conducting an experiment outside on the Mars surface. Yeah, here they are driving a rover to make some experiments and some research. The Mission Support Center, in this case, it's located in Innsbruck in Austria. We have the teams sitting there for flight planning, ground support, IT teams, science archive, and remote science support, etc. And after a mission, we publish a lot of scientific papers to share our findings with the scientific community, of course. The current mission is the Amadi 20 mission. It's called Amadi 20 because it should have taken place in 2020, but because of COVID, we had to postpone it to next year. And this one will take place in Israel, in the Negev desert. And as you can see, it looks very Martian. We have currently 16 experiments, and as you can see, it's different types of experiments: psychological, human factors, technical, geological, meteorological, technical, medical, biological, etc. So we do a lot of experiments in very different areas during such a mission. The mission will be approximately 1 month long and will be in probably October, November next year. One of the experiments, I just picked some examples, is the Amaze. It's like a helicopter, because the question is, how can we navigate on Mars? Because we don't have GPS or Galileo on Mars. We don't have proper maps of Mars. So how can we actually navigate? And one idea is to build a helicopter with cameras that act kind of as human eyes and recognize certain features in the landscape and can navigate according to those. We have a tumbleweed. That's a different type of rover that's actually built after the tumbleweed, the plant that is rolled across deserts by the wind. And so the Technical University of Vienna in Austria, they came up with this idea to build a rover like this. It has kind of sails, and you can see there are solar panels on the sails, So the rover can autonomously move for long distances, but it cannot be directed. So it will just go where the wind blows it, but it can go very, very far and quite fast as well. Another experiment I'm involved in is MSG, Movement, Space and Group Health. That's a psychosocial experiment where we actually investigate the well-being of the individuals, but also of the entire group. And at the bottom, you see a photo of the of a Mars habitat as the analog astronauts see it, and that's where they live and work during the mission. Yeah, so a mission is set up. If you look at the left, there is this Mars habitat, which is obviously on Earth. And in the habitat and outside the habitat, the analog astronauts will conduct some experiments. We also have a 10 minutes communication delay because of the sheer distance that Mars is away. Even the light, if we could communicate at the speed of light, there is a delay because light can only travel 300,000 kilometers per second. So if we send a message to the analog astronauts in the simulation, our servers are set in a way that the message will be delayed 10 minutes and their answer will also be delayed for 10 minutes. So this is actually the first time that we also simulate this communication delay, and we are really looking forward to seeing the results of those. Yeah. If you're interested in more details about the Austrian Space Forum or the specific mission, I'm sure that we can share this information later on for you all to access. Yeah, but this is the Amadi program is of course quite a big activity with hundreds of people involved in Austria, in Israel, and all over the world. So I would like to show you also some examples of smaller or even individual initiatives. And one of my friends, Jazz, she actually wanted to be an analog astronaut and wanted to go on a mission this year, but she couldn't because of COVID. So she decided to do her own mission in her own back garden. And I put the link to her blog. I can highly recommend the blog. It's really very interesting what experiments she has done. She, for example, she tested different types of food that could be taken to a trip on Mars, and she's just presenting her results of her tests, and it's very interesting. So even as an individual person, this is what we can do. Another example is in Slovakia. We have a a small startup company, Borospace, and they have developed a suborbital rocket. This is almost ready to fly, but again, we can't launch it because of COVID, so the launch will be probably somewhere next summer. This is a demonstrator. This rocket will fly up to 2 kilometers. The real model, the real rocket, the next model, will actually fly up to, depending on the payload, up to 120 to 160 kilometers. So it can actually take small satellites into orbit. And interesting what they do, they also develop sustainable rocket fuel based on wax. So this is on the right-hand side, you see actually me holding rocket fuel. It's extremely, it's very environmentally, it's friendly. It's also extremely safe because it doesn't explode. You can imagine it just like a candle. It will just slowly burn, and but the candle doesn't explode, and this doesn't explode either. It won't even kill you when you eat it, but just don't do it. You see the engine they developed themselves. This is a static fire test, so it's actually working. And it was nice that there was the Vernadsky challenges recently, 130 applications from 36 countries worldwide, and Borospace actually came among the 10 finalists, which is quite an achievement for a very small 5-people company. Yeah. Again, I have the contact details here. Right. Now I would like to tell you a bit about what all of you can do if you are interested in getting involved in space exploration, because it's such an exciting place to be. How did I get involved? I got interested in space when Apollo 11 made the first moon landing, which is basically my first conscious memory from childhood. I was like 3 years old or so. And my grandfather was very much interested in it, and he would talk for weeks, not about nothing else. Oh, we're going to the moon, we're going to the moon. And he got me very excited. And then I started collecting stamps, and I thought this was just so great. And people were thinking limitless, and they were imagining having a habitable space station around Venus in orbit, and were thinking of traveling to other galaxies. And the pity was that nothing of it really happened. The interest in space exploration kind of died down. And then a couple of years ago came Elon Musk, and he got people excited again, including myself. So I thought, what can I want to be part of it. It can't be that we go to Mars and I'm not involved. So I was thinking, oh, how can I just get into this, and what value can I bring to space exploration? Then, of course, I'm an intercultural trainer. I thought, astronauts will need intercultural training. So I started developing a training, intercultural training, specifically for anyone involved in space, by reading hundreds of mission reports, by reading I don't know how many biographies of astronauts and of mission people like Gene Kranz and the like, who were involved in the Apollo program. And I have so far also had the chance to talk face-to-face to more than 20 astronauts who have actually been to space. And I created this program, and then I made a phone call and I asked some organization if they're interested, and they said no. And the second phone call was to the Austrian Space Forum, and they said yes, of course. So my first steps in the direction of Mars were actually providing intercultural training at the Austrian Space Forum. You see in the foreground, he's the director of the Space Forum, Gernot Grömer. Then they invited me for mission training, and they kept me as a flight planner. So here I got a tour of the suit lab of the Austrian Space Forum. And most recently, I got involved with real rocket science as a project manager. So of course, I cannot build a rocket, but I can manage a team building a rocket as a project, and helping them with various things as we move along. So going back to the question we had before, what is missing? It's very clear that we need a lot more people in space exploration, because there's so many topics that we have not solved yet. And the sad thing is that most people only think of rocket science when it comes to Mars or space exploration. Yeah, they think you have to be able to build a rocket or to build a satellite or some other engineering topic. However, what we need, on top of that, of course, we need rocket scientists, but we need, of course, project managers. We need medical doctors. We need nurses, especially in research how to keep people healthy in space. So the Amadi analog missions, they always have usually more than one doctor involved. And we have medical experiments that are guided by doctors to see how the human body reacts in space. And of course, to help when something goes wrong, because there's no guarantee that you won't break a leg on Mars or in a Mars expedition, actually. We need, of course, architects, because we have to build habitats for people to live in. And in Vienna, I don't know about other universities, but in Vienna, you can actually already study now space architecture. So if I would like to be an architect, I think I would become a space architect. We, of course, need journalists, because we need to report the news from the space exploration, from analog missions, from real missions to Mars. Yeah. We need chemists. Yeah, we need to analyze the atmosphere, the soil samples, etc. We need biologists. Yeah, for humans, of course, but also if we are searching for traces of current or former life on Mars. Yeah, we need geologists, yeah, to examine the rock samples, for example, and to interpret them. Yeah, how was Mars formed? Were certain features on Mars formed, and when? We need photography teachers, because astronauts, one of their job is, of course, to take lots and lots of photos and make videos. Yeah, it's people are not thinking usually about the opportunity that they can be a photography teacher for astronauts. We need sociologists, yeah, because if we want to send, like Elon Musk plans, we send a Starship with 100 people at one time to Mars. We need to understand the sociology of such a group. How will they cope with a long journey, being confined with a large group in a very small space for quite a long time? We're talking minimum of 7 months travel time. Psychologists, of course. We need lawyers because we haven't figured out how to for example, can you own Mars? Can somebody own land on Mars? And if so, how? This is all very unclear. We have, for example, in Slovakia, we don't even have a law to launch rockets. So if we have the example I mentioned before, this startup company that has built a rocket, we cannot launch it from Slovakia because we don't have any legal grounds. We have to go to another country to actually launch it, even though we would, if we had the space for it, we can't do it. Now, space companies need warehouse workers, and if I were a warehouse worker, I would rather work in SpaceX's warehouse than at the local supermarket, because it's a bit cooler. We need gardeners, horticulturalists, foresters, because we have to grow things. We have to grow things on Mars, probably also on the spaceship while we're going there, because who wants to eat freeze-dried food only for 7 months? We need artists to interpret what we are finding on Mars and what we are finding even during the analog missions. We usually have mission artists to document this and to interpret it in an artistic way. Again, this is part of our human heritage. We have the need for arts as humans. So in case any of you is interested in space exploration, it's basically we need almost the same jobs, the same qualifications that we need on Earth. We also need that in space exploration, and it's not just rocket science. So if you are interested, I would highly encourage you to reflect what skills do I have and how can I contribute? How can I put these skills into use in the space industry? Because there is room for everyone in space exploration. So that is it from me for the time being. Again, I can share my contact. You can find me on LinkedIn, email, Twitter. And I would be very much looking forward to questions, to discussions, and to your ideas about space.
Sure, thanks, Karin. If you can stop sharing the screen, then we would actually come to the grid view, and people can put on their camera and ask questions. So request everyone kindly put on the camera and feel free to ask the questions. So thank you so much, Karin, for your time as well as your experience sharing, narrating your journey, and inspiring us to take up careers in space tech. So we are indeed grateful to you for this. Okay, so I guess we have a question, and Manav goes. Manav, please share your question.
Hi, first of all, thank you so much to share this amazing presentation and your expertise and time as well. So I'm pretty sure that you must have gotten this question, and it's a very common question as to why do humans need space research and what is there that can help us. So I know the Elon Musk version of it, that he wants to colonize Mars, but what are other reasons for this?
So we had said there is basically four perspective. There is a human perspective. As humans, exploration is in our genes. We have to explore. Yeah. If there is a mountain, we have to climb it. If there is an ocean, we have to sail it. If there is another planet, we have to go. Yeah. We can do a lot of research in space that we cannot do on Earth because of because we have microgravity in space. We are currently very depending on data we get from space, like satellite navigation, for example. Even Elon Musk is also setting up the Starlink network to provide internet to everyone, broadband internet to everyone, to people who haven't got any connections. And it's a big factor becoming a bigger and bigger factor in the world economy.
Fair enough. Also, how much do you agree with Elon Musk's vision regarding space? It's a very controversial topic, I agree, but I think he has a lot of conviction when he talks about space. But again, he's not backed, but he has a lot of conviction. So I want to ask you about it.
Yeah, first of all, we definitely need people like Elon Musk because he's really sparking interest. He's inspiring people. I think his plans are a bit ambitious, but he's known for not meeting his deadlines. He has shown that with the Tesla cars. He just goes ahead, we will have this and this ready by then, and then it's going to be a couple of years later. And space is even more complex than building cars. He has, of course, a point, and I agree with him there, that we should go and colonize other planets. I'm totally in line with that. Okay. I'm not agreeing with his timeline. I think it's far too ambitious, and obviously I'm not agreeing that it's depending on having rockets. It's more depending on getting people ready for such a journey. We don't have any psychological or psychosocial models for sending people to Mars. And right now, my best guess would be that most of them would actually die during the journey to Mars because they would just kill each other because they have no way really of living with each other.
Okay, that's a little dark actually.
Yeah,
but people killing each other in rockets or on the planet, and that's a little dark.
Yeah, but you see, we had a Mir space station. We had the Space Lab. We had ISS. We now have ISS. There have been fist fights. People don't get along with each other that well. And as a psychologist, I do see also the dark side. And I'm not saying that it's not doable. I'm just saying we need to work on it before we can send people on such a long journey in such a confined space. And rockets are complex. Rockets are complicated, but humans are complex. That is, when you increase the power of a rocket, it flies faster, it flies further. If you change something with a human, you don't know how they will react. There is no predictable reaction for any action. Yeah.
So as a psychologist, would you say that there will be a Martian culture and an Earthian culture across in the future? Let's just call it.
I wouldn't work on it if I didn't believe on it.
Yeah, so there will be a Martian proper culture of people who are planning to go.
I'm working on it. I just bought the web domain culturalist.space.
Okay. I want to do some research on that.
Yeah, there is nothing there yet. I just bought it, set it up, but this is one of my personal goals, that I will be involved in creating, or at least steering, a culture on Mars. And again, I would like to come back to Elon Musk. We have these self-driving cars. They have software that is kind of programmed to make decisions which are based on the values of Elon Musk. Yeah, I'm not saying that he has the worst value, he has bad values, but it's very American. It's very Elon. And you see, there have been some studies, for example, if you have to have an accident, it cannot be avoided. Would you rather run over a child and risk that they break a leg, or would you rather run over an old person, risking that they break a leg, or would you steer your car into a tree so that you maybe break a leg? And across cultures, people have very, very different ways of solving this. But in the Tesla cars, in the self-driving cars, there's only one way programmed, and that's a very cultural thing. And you have the same issues with an automated Mars rover. Yeah, if there is an accident, we need to start talking more about these things. They are far from solved, and I can't solve them. I can just again and again bring the discussion up.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, I think other people want to ask many questions. Yeah, I have a lot of questions, but I think let's the round finish, and if there is time.
So you keep on, coming in the queue, and then over to you, Dave. They would like to ask a question. So Dave, go ahead.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Manav.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, what are your thoughts on warp drive?
It would be nice. We don't have it.
But will it be possible in the future?
I don't know. I'm not an engineer. My guess is as good as yours. I don't know.
Have you heard of Mars Post?
Sorry, what?
Mars Post. It's a Russian concept. Mars piloted orbital station.
Yes, but I'm not familiar with every single detail.
Yeah. So, what is your question for this? Mars Post.
Just basically your perspective. Nothing more.
Of what?
Of Russia's Mars project.
Yeah.
Well, it's one idea of many. And again, I have the same reservations. We're not anywhere near ready with this. Yeah. It's and it's not the technical details that we have to figure out. Even if we choose this option, we will have the same psychological problems with people. We will have the same lack of fresh food. We will have the same lack of fresh water and fresh air. So from a technical architectural standpoint, I can't comment on that because I'm not a technician. But the technology will, in any case, if it's Starship or if the Indian space community builds something or the Russian organization builds something, the hardware will always be easier and faster to finish than the human factors.
Okay, and one more question. Do you think that a silicon-based life form can exist?
Sorry, I didn't acoustically understand it. You're breaking up.
Do you think that silicon-based life form can exist?
I don't know. That's not my area of expertise.
Okay, thanks. Go ahead.
One last question.
Sure.
What about quantum tunneling?
How do you want?
You have to be specific. I mean, you cannot say, okay, fine, what is your idea about some artificial intelligence? You have to be specific in asking question. You cannot simply say, okay, what is your idea about quantum tunneling? If you have some specific question, you have to ask that what is it that you would like to ask.
Okay, my bad. Um, okay, the last basic question. What do you must have heard of Drake's equation?
Of a?
Drake's equation.
Yes. What about it?
So can it be trusted?
So my answer is yes. I have heard about the Drake's equation. Yes.
So
Can it
what
be
is
trusted?
it you want to ask? She knows what is the equation. Now, what is it that you want to ask now?
Can it be trusted?
Are you submitting me to a theoretical physics test now?
No, I some things that I might also not know, so I'm just trying to know. That I'm not taking a test.
Yeah. Yes, I have heard of the Drake's equation. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Dev. Thanks, Dev. Ravi, would you like to ask a couple of questions? Please go ahead.
I'm there, sir.
Yeah, definitely. You go next after Ravi. Ravi bhai, go ahead.
Okay.
And you will have to unmute yourself.
Karin, this is a very wonderful session and very in-depth session. Actually, we all are not belongs to this particular subject, so very less able to understood. But whatever you explained, those are understood to me. So my question is, if students, like Dev has also asked, if students or other person, because there, as you told, there are many possibilities. People can join the organization or can come together with you or your type of organization where they can make their career, they can explore better, and it is a interestful subject, like as you told, like you have seen in childhood, like moon mission, etc. So yes, that way we also taught to our children's, like, they should be very ambitious, and how this
Mhm.
space is there, because as of now when they are very young. So what is your message? What is the area where, being a parent, what we should educate them, or we will make them interested so they will go and turn toward this subject and the interesting area?
Um, well, I personally think it's the best to expose the children to as many areas as possible, and usually children develop an area of specific interest, and I hope I was able to bring this across. If your children want to be a gardener, yeah, or a horticulturalist or a forester, let them be, and they can still work with that profession in the space industry, because we need so much more research and experiments on actually growing plants, on checking which plants grow in microgravity, which plants grow in Martian soil, and you can actually buy simulated Martian soil and can make your own experiments at home. The soil is composed in a way that it's also composed on Mars, and you can just put some seeds in there and see what happens. And so there is room for everyone. There is room for artists in Mars or space exploration. I don't know. I would not. I highly resisted initial ideas of what I was supposed to do. My parents would have liked to see me sitting in an office, doing some working for the government. I saw very early that this was not my thing. So I'm still doing office work, but of course in the free industry, and I made my way anyway. And again, it's not that children should study rocket science to become involved in space exploration, but I think, and this is becoming more and more of a problem, that we have too many specialists and too little generalists. So we need, especially in space exploration, where things change from one day to another, we need people who have problem-solving skills. We need people who have interpersonal skills, who have intercultural competence, who know about project management, because these are who know about data analysis. Yeah, because these skills you can apply in a lot of different fields, and this is very much needed in space exploration.
True. And is there any minimum qualification or the benchmarking, like this minimum should be known to the person who want to go in this space and the area?
No.
No.
There is room for almost everyone.
Okay. That's nice. So I will encourage my neighborhood also, as well as my kids also. So thank you, Karin.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Ravi. We have next question from Manpreet Singh. His question is, even students and professionals are launching satellites on and SIS on monthly basis. So every month you would see that a couple of students, couple of entrepreneurs and business houses have started launching satellites, and the frequency in last decade has grown to a larger extent. And by the time we get actually going to Mars, how do you think that we'll be able to manage the space debris? And what is the scope of companies that are interested in reducing space debris? So are there anyone in this industry domain actually working on managing space debris? What is the concern as far as space debris is concerned, and what are your views on the same? Manpreet, am I able to interpret your question correctly?
Perfect.
Thank you. Karin, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's a very good and very, very current question. We are launching more and more satellites. Just today, India launched 6, I think, successfully earlier this morning. And it would not be a problem if we launch satellites on a monthly basis. We're currently launching almost on a daily basis. We've had I'm always watching the launches, and there is up to sometimes 3 launches in a day to watch. Yes, space debris is definitely a big problem. And yes, there are kind of a lot of companies working on it. There is, first of all, there are some projects in recognition of space debris, because currently we can only detect really pieces of debris that are at least like 10 centimeters in any kind of dimension long. But if a 2-centimeter piece hits you at 27,000 kilometers an hour, you'll be just as dead. And if it hits the International Space Station, they'll have a leak. So we need to work first on one hand on better recognition of space debris, and secondly, we need to work on getting the debris that is currently there somehow out of space, back to Earth. And there is a couple of companies working on that. There has been some tests with a net actually sending up one satellite that then catches other satellites or pieces of debris. And of course, the biggest danger is that 2 satellites collide. We had a very threatening situation a couple of weeks ago, where actually 2 big satellites were getting very close to each other. And when they collide, should 2 especially big satellites collide, we will have millions of small pieces flowing around, and then it becomes uncontrollable. So yeah, we are working. We haven't found a good solution yet. And then step 3 is, of course, avoiding new debris in space. So we need to work on more reusable rockets, on even getting our expired satellites and whatever we shoot up there, rocket bodies, even from a larger distance back. It's not so much problems in low Earth orbit, because we have good access to low Earth orbit. But when we talk to Mars, yeah, if you have a piece of debris you want to catch, you need 7 months to get there to catch it. Yeah, so we want to avoid it as much as possible. But this is just a budding industry. And if you have ideas of how this could be done, then I think you're going to be the next millionaire or billionaire.
Okay, thank you so much. And I hope, Manpreet, you got the answer. You have any follow-up question?
Yeah, perfect. And I think let's try to be the next millionaires, all of us. Thanks, Karin. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Thanks. We have our next question coming up from Kajal. Kajal, over to you.
Hello, Karin. First of all, such an insightful message. I mean, I've never really understood. Although we all were very, at least I was very interested in space and everything when I was in standard 6 and 7, because a lot of competitions were held, but we never pursued it because it was too technical to understand. But then the kind of vision that you guys have to have life on Mars, and you said that you are having simulations, just like they have pilot simulations, they're having astronaut simulations, which is so much fun when you actually see, you see that we see that you guys are doing. So I want to ask this question, that since you are a part of this thing, and you said that you perform roles of leading that project, and how that journey will be implemented, you kind of design that, right? So I want to ask are they planning to create something like atmosphere and ecosystem over there? I mean, for example, nothing is being imported on this planet. Nothing is being, we generate on ourselves, by ourselves. Whatever we spoke through the entire session, we were finding ways of creating from something. Yeah, a transformation. We're looking for to convert something, X element, X atom molecule into a Y element. But is there a chance of an entire atmosphere getting generated over there?
Yeah. So if I understand your question correct, you would like to know if we can simulate a full environment here on Earth, or if we can actually build that environment, if we have a ready-made design for Mars.
No. Similar. This is a part of it. What I want to know is, does Mars have that capacity to have an atmosphere of its own, just like Earth has?
Oh yeah, the atmosphere. Yes. Well, Mars' atmosphere is almost exclusively carbon dioxide. So we would, but the good news is that it's CO2. That includes 2 atoms of oxygen. So we would have to, of course, treat the Martian atmosphere in a way that we split the carbon and from the oxygen, and we make the oxygen breathable, but we are still confined to our habitats. We cannot go out without a spacesuit. Which is also, people ask me, would you go to Mars? I would say no way, because I can't live without opening a window and going for a walk without a spacesuit. So we would always have to have to bring our own breathing air like a scuba diver underwater when we go out, or we have to be in the habitat where we keep the atmosphere. Like on the International Space Station, it's also an artificial atmosphere that we are living in. And I'm still wondering, first, it's not just the atmosphere. Mars is very cold, so we have to warm it up. Now we have already gathered a lot of experience in heating up Earth, which we should not do, but this skill could be useful on Mars. But then it's warmer, but we still don't have a breathable atmosphere. And my question is, and I'm very serious about it, is it easier to terraform Mars, like to create rivers and to create an atmosphere and to create the heat, or is it maybe more easier to Mars form humans because we can do genetic engineering? Is it easier to create humans that can actually breathe carbon dioxide and live on it? But right now we don't have a solution to create an atmosphere on Mars, and Mars had a denser atmosphere. The problem is that Mars doesn't have a magnetic field like Earth has, and it's actually our magnetic fields that holds our atmosphere. So even if we would create an atmosphere on Mars, the solar winds would just blow it away immediately because it's not, Mars cannot hold an atmosphere.
Okay, this is exactly what I wanted to know, because at the end of the day, nobody planted water on this planet, nobody planted a tree, nobody converted anything over here. Everything was generated by itself and because of the atmosphere. So I mean, how it originated here, that could be an origin there as well, but like this is the gap. The magnetic field is the gap. That's what I. Thank you. This is superb. This is an amazing piece of knowledge.
We would have to create an artificial magnetic field to start with.
Okay.
So Kajal, hang on. Today you would be sharing the vote of thanks on behalf of everyone. Now I'd like to go to Krishnanand. Krishnanand, do you have any question, queries, feedback? You can put on your camera and share your views. How was the session? What did you find interesting, and any questions you have? Okay, Lalit.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much, Karin. It was a wonderful session. Never in my wildest dreams did I actually think that I would be attending a talk on, Mars and the possible colonization of another planet, for that matter. And I'm so happy that the dream that your grandfather, gave you, you've kept that alive. That's a wonderful thing. So. Fantastic session. Really, it was an eye opener on so many levels. I mean, there's so many concepts that we simply are not aware of when we are not thinking about life on any other planet apart from Earth. Right? We take so many things for granted, and like you mentioned, we always thought, or at least I, speaking for myself, I always thought that the only people that would be associated with a space mission would be astronauts. I did not really connect the dots and realize that so many other professions would be needed as well.
Yeah,
so thank you so much.
In fact, I have felt that if we had your session maybe a decade ago, then we would have actually started our careers in space tech a decade ago. But however, your session has inspired us that yes, we all can participate in this industry, and there is a space for everyone. It's just that you have to equip yourself and claim that space.
Truly said,
One more thing. Can I ask?
Yeah. We are not concluding as
So,
yet. Go ahead.
No. I was saying that we are looking for we are doing simulations for Mars. But isn't Moon closer? I mean, before going to what do you call a farther destination, I would try visiting a nearer destination with some similar qualities, and I would test that whether certain things are functioning as per my assumptions. And then once a successful what do you call a trial run on the moon, and post that something can be planned, something which is maybe thousands of kilometers far, more far than the moon. So why not moon first? Why Mars?
We will go to the moon first. The next landing of humans on the moon is planned for 2024. So that's 2 years from now, 4 years from now.
Okay.
Time flies. And I think you're very optimistic when you say we need one dry run. I would say we need hundreds. We also need to, it's so many things that are not solved. It would be much better to launch a Mars rocket from the moon, because we need the largest quantity of fuel is actually to escape Earth's gravity. Yeah, the moon has only 1/6 of Earth's gravity, so you would only need like a lot less fuel, which would make it a lot less expensive. Then again, you run into the same issues. How do you get fuel on the moon? Yeah. So we would have.
It becomes equally costly.
We would have to produce rocket fuel on the moon. Again, it's quite possible, because even recently NASA found lots of water on the moon. And again, water has oxygen in it. Oxygen is a very good propellant. Even hydrogen we can use as a propellant. But again, we're nowhere near on actually extracting the water on the moon, taking it where we need it, having a factory there that actually converts water or whatever else into rocket fuel, and then actually being able to have a launch pad, including all the infrastructure that this need, the electricity for charging the batteries themselves. How do we get them to the moon? Can we produce batteries on the moon? And to actually fuel a rocket, which is not, unless you use the innovative wax-based fuel, where it's just a candle and you can just stick it like a cartridge. You put it into the rocket. But right now we have RP1, which is a derivative of kerosene, which we use to fly planes. And this is highly explosive. And if you have followed a bit of the space industry, so many rockets have exploded on the launch pad. It's just not, we haven't got the capacity to create fuel, to store it, and to actually load it into the rocket in an economic and safe way. But this is why I'm saying we're not going to Mars in 2033. I think even 2048 is quite optimistic with all these problems to solve. Yeah. And it's a bit different, because people tell me, yeah, we made it from 0 to the moon in like 9 years. Yeah, but the moon is very, very close. And we have seen these accidents that happen. And we can get up there, even if you look at the Hubble telescope that wasn't functioning. So they just sent somebody up to repair it. Yeah, we can't send somebody to Mars to repair something. It takes months. Yeah, if you go to the moon, you're there in 3 days. It's not a big issue. But Mars is a totally different environment. And yeah, we need to, of course, test everything on Earth, which is what we've been doing for the past years. Then the next step is, of course, to test it on the moon and then go to Mars.
Thank you so much. And we
Wow,
just
this is
jump
amazing.
to Kajal's question. I guess Lalit had a follow-up question. Lalit?
Yeah, I think my question is more around the commercials, because this is currently, more driven by governments and research. So is there, like, how do you fund these projects, all the work that you're doing or your colleagues are doing, or the other companies? Is this all funded by governments, or is there some
No.
other?
I myself, I don't get any government funding. So I have to work with companies who I then just write an invoice, like for my other work as well. Yeah, there is a lot of government funding, and I'm probably eligible for some funding from the European Space Agency. I have just so far shied away from doing the tons of paperwork to get there. And of course, if you're looking at infrastructure, yeah, like building a rocket or whatever rocket engine, you need quite a lot of investment. Yeah, if I work as a space psychologist, there is not much of an investment. Yeah, I have to educate myself. I have to learn about space and read mission reports, but I can download them free of charge from the internet. So I don't have any investment to make, because I don't have hundreds of thousands of euros to say, let's build a rocket. It's just not working. Well, let's build satellites are not very expensive to build. But again, there is a lot of government money, but only from some governments. Like here in Slovakia, we don't have government money for the space industry at the moment. But there is, of course, in the US, in Russia, in China, also in India, in the Philippines, there is government money. But again, if you want to work in the space industry, you find a way around it. You find a way how you can work there without investing a lot of money.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much.
Thanks. I guess Manav has got a question.
I have a million questions, because these two topics about psychology and space are actually very fascinating to me. So my brain is going at like 100 miles an hour, but I'll summarize it in two questions. Since you said that Elon Musk's predictions are very ambitious and humans cannot, understand the concept of an interplanetary culture, how long will it take for us to understand such a culture, A? And B, since you're working on a culture, developing a culture like that, what is your vision for an interplanetary culture, and how will we communicate, and what would that look like?
Yeah, let me answer your last question first. I don't want to develop a culture for Mars. I want to initiate discussions so that we jointly develop a culture for Mars, because I don't want my culture on Mars. That would be very, very active, aggressive, and quite arrogant. That I would say, my culture is the best culture on Mars, which I think it's not. I just want to initiate the discussions that we talk about. Which values would we have on Mars? Yeah, again, we need to understand what culture is, because culture is not our nationality. It's about which values do we have, which norms do we have, how do we behave, even starting on how to greet each other. Yeah. What do we say? Do we wave, or do we say namaste, or do we salute militarily? We have no idea. And I don't want to say that we should do it this and this way. I'm just saying that, hey, we need to discuss, we need to think, and this should be a global effort, so that as many cultural groups get their say in it as possible, because it should not be based on one culture. It should be a new culture, and maybe we decide that we let it develop by itself, but of course brings certain dangers. Maybe we can have a compromise and we say, okay, let's develop, but then we will steer it in a certain way. I give you one example. If you have between Earth and Mars, there and back, 20 minutes communication delay, you're probably better off with a direct communication style than with an indirect communication style, because indirect communication style usually needs interpretation. It needs it actually has the assumption that people know each other and know what they're talking about. So I would say that a direct communication style is most likely better. But I don't want to be the one making the decision. I just take this has this and this advantages, and this has that advantage, and then we have to form some groups to come together to actually say, okay, we can have a culture that is more on direct communication, because it's simply it's faster, it's shorter, it's more clear.
Fair enough. But by culture, I'm sorry to cut you short. Please go ahead.
Yeah, now I forgot your first question.
No. We'll stick to the second question right now, because by culture, I just don't mean the ways and norms humans interact, but also the economics of it. Because I believe there will be interplanetary trading or some sort of an ecosystem in which these two interact. So what would that look like?
Yeah, again, this is one of the problems, that we have no idea what this should look like. This is why we need lawyers to figure out a legal system. And if Elon Musk recently said, well, I don't care, on Mars we will have my culture, I will rule Mars and I will set the laws on Mars. This is not very helpful, because Mars does not belong to Elon Musk, it belongs to all humanity. And again, it starts with what legal system would we like to have? Do we want to have civil law or common law or Sharia law or whatever law? And there is differences and there is advantages and disadvantages, and we are already talking about specific paragraphs in the law where we haven't even decided which kind of law system we want to implement. And we are absolutely not ready for this.
So coming back, that will connect to my first question. How far behind are we from even thinking about this? Being ready as humanity, how far behind are we to consider?
I would say we might make it for 2048, which is 28 years from now. But we need to get going. We need to start a lot more discussions, because Mars exploration, it's just discussion about how big is your rocket and how many people can fit in there, but we don't talk about what happens if we are on Mars and some of the one astronaut steals something from another astronaut. What's going to happen? We have no idea.
So
what do you do when an astronaut turns rogue, right?
Yeah, exactly. But then so you came up with this 28 years thing, or a difference of 28 years to get there. If you don't mind me asking, how did you come up with 28 years as a specific number?
Mars is closest to Earth every 15 years. The next time it's closest, it's in 2033, and the time after that is in 2048.
Oh, okay.
So it's not me coming up with that, it's the
okay, it's astronomical.
Orbital mechanics.
So one cycle won't be enough to get ready culturally and economically, developing systems and everything.
So these are the windows wherein certain milestones, major developments would happen. So let me have a quick check with other participants. Rupa, Dirja, do you have any questions? Any feedback would you like to share with Karin?
No questions, Chintan. So most of the questions are already answered.
Okay, any feedback, any compliments
I
for
have
the
a
speaker?
question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I go with the opinion what Lalit has mentioned. So it's the same thing because I haven't heard of many things what I've listened to today in the session. So it was an eye opener of what all can be done in Mars. So yeah, and so many professionals required there. That was also a new thing for me. So yeah, it was an excellent session from
Thanks,
Yeah.
Nirja. Yeah, Rupa, go ahead with your question.
So my question is like, so we have already created with all the satellites and everything. We are already creating debris for which we have no idea how we are going to handle it as of now. Right. Second, so as we go further, are there people who are looking into things where we don't destroy the planet, but add on to it? Uh, kind of like, so Earth, we've been destroying it a lot. Currently we're living here, we are humans, we are intelligent, but instead of making good use of the intelligence and technology, there has been a lot of destruction going on. So is there something that we are thinking about when we are moving towards another planet, how not
Yeah,
to destroy it?
a very, very good question. Yeah, there are discussions going on, but I have the fear that it will be the same situation on Mars. We just take care of the economy and not much of the ecology. So my best guess is that we will, after a couple of 100 years, destroy Mars just as we destroy Earth now, which is very lamentable. And yeah, but it's yeah, I don't know what to do about it. I can only for myself behave as ecological as possible, and again bring this up in discussions. And I just hope that we again it's depending on the legislation. Yeah, will we be allowed to throw waste out of the Mars habitat into the open Mars landscape, or will it be forbidden? Or we are not very far in that discussion of what we can do and cannot do. But it's a very good topic. Thank you for bringing this up.
Thank you.
It was a
And
very good discussion, Karin. Like, I was glad I attended it.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
I can also I think we have some students among us, and
yes,
we
we
have
have.
some parents of students among us. So
Yeah,
if anybody of you would like to have a guest lecture at your university, I'm very open to do that. I do a lot of lectures at various universities all over for all kinds of topic. If there is a need somewhere, just let me know, and we can
sure.
arrange something. Because I think it can be interesting to have such discussions in the classroom as well.
Yeah, so I'm planning an initiative with students, and this is going to be somewhere in January. Around 900 students are participating. So let me check with the host, and we'll be happy to host you in the event. And definitely, our audience is also welcome. Either they can approach you directly, or if they want me to help connecting with you, then I would be happy to assist them as well. So this is about thanks Rupa for this, and we move to next. Pradeep Arora and Gajanan, do you have any questions, any feedback for the speaker, any compliment would you like to share? Pradeep Arora and Gajanan. Okay, Madhu. Madhu, do you have any questions, any feedback would you like to share?
Yeah, good evening. Really fantastic, Chintan, arranging this session. last 2 weeks I was participated for few time. Very good. Thank you, Karin, madam. Really fantastic, and your interest in this field. I would like to tell one thing. Like mostly in India, we enforce our children to study, particularly from seventh class, from middle school to we force them to go for engineering or medicine. That's it. Those only two fields. 90% of children are forced to go for engineering or medicine, or if in engineering also they enforce them to go to computer science only, even though the children has got some interest, but we don't see, we make them to study computer science only. So good that you have your whatever passion, you're working on your passion. Fantastic. So one question, madam, simple question. So you told me Mars, to reach Mars 7 months time, to reach Moon 3 days time. Just simply, can you tell me, like, if you to reach Neptune, Pluto, Jupiter, these Saturn? I don't know whether these are all feasible to go or not. Just can you tell me how much time it takes to reach that planets?
I don't know this by heart, but I can search on Google.
Just approximately whatever you have any idea about that one. Suppose now Mars is over, now next maybe another research unit may start working on
So,
reaching to another planet.
how long will a journey to Neptune take? So 12 years.
Oh, wow.
With the current rocket engines and technology we have, that is, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Madhu, do you have any follow-up question?
No, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Madhu. Dave had a question whether aerosol gel can be used as an insulator in Mars missions. Dave, are you there? Can you reiterate your question?
Yeah, I'm right here. So I asked that can aerogel be used as an insulator in Mars missions?
What do you want to use it for?
Insulator or space fuel, rocket fuel.
I'm not really aware that any tests have been done on that.
Well, I have just heard somewhere. I'm not sure if is it true or not, that NASA has used aerogel as a insulator.
So there is your answer, yes. If
But
NASA says it can be
I'm
used,
not sure
then
if it's right or wrong.
Hello.
so insulation, yeah, for rocket fuel. For which kind of rocket fuel? For which kind of rocket? In which kind of environment?
Which kind? Basic rocket fuel.
I'm not
Technically,
doing, yeah, I'm not doing research on rocket insulation, so I'm just, I don't know how to answer your question.
no problem.
Okay, thanks, Dave. We move on with Joy. Joy, do you have any questions? Saurabh, do you have any questions? Pradeep Arora, do you have any questions, any feedback, any compliments? Or would you wish to share with the speaker? You'll have to unmute yourself.
Sorry, I unmuted. I'm sorry. I was not able to attend continuously. So, but yes, I am impressed by, and I am indeed thankful to the speaker who's covered the whole topic in a very, very elaborate manner. I'm sure it has put a lot of things in perspective and very interesting insights into future programs, how various issues are being handled, how they can be handled multinationally, multiculturally, and of course in interplanetary and maybe intergalactic way later. I think I'm personally extremely benefited, and I thank TMI also for organizing this wonderful webinar. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Pradeep. Over to you, Saurabh.
Sorry, Karin, thanks a lot for the wonderful session. I was like, off late I joined because I had another training program which was going on. But to whatever quantum of information I had, it was awesome and amazing. There's only two words, right? Great insights. Especially like the statement that you made, Elon Musk would never be able to, of course, cannot own the entire Mars. It's for the humanity, of course. Yes. And then the thought process comes to my mind, saying if the Elon Musk has to do reignite the entire project and own it up, then what happens if Elon Musk has to own the Mars and the entire project has to be redone once again? Then what would be the kind of consequences? Those days where he used to, probably 2 decades back, if I'm not wrong, Mars, Jupiter, those failures which occurred, the O-ring problem, if I'm not wrong, and those things which occurred, and then I'm sure Elon Musk would have a good amount of that made me think through and your statement, what could probably potentially occur if he was to just launch another space itself. I mean, yeah, but thanks, wonderful session. Thanks a lot for that. That's what
Thank you so much. Thanks for your compliments. We'll just take last two questions. So, Joy, would you like to go ahead? Anyone would you like to share anything? Have any queries? Last two questions for the day. Okay, I guess we are done, and it's now my turn. I have a question. Uh, so let me ask this question as well. So when we say interplanetary trade and all, and where do you see that such kind of interplanetary, I mean, I would say regular flights starting? Like, I mean, is it 2048, or maybe it would take much more than that? Scheduled flights. I mean, when do we have scheduled flights in current progress?
Yeah. We will need scheduled flights as soon as we put the first humans on Mars, because they need supplies, they need food, they need equipment, tools, whatever. They need computers, because I think the computers that they will take with them will, very fast be obsolete, and we have better computers. So these two things go hand in hand. As soon as we have a colony established on Mars, there have to be regular flights, else the colony would die out very, very fast. It's I think it's an illusion to think the first people on Mars will be able to create a self-sustaining environment for themselves. What could also happen, independent or maybe even before that, we could send more robots, and robots could actually mine certain, I don't know, metals or whatever there is to mine, or just bring Martian soil, for more experiments. And as soon as we find some resource on Mars that is worth a lot on Earth, we can have uncrewed missions going there and picking it up and bringing things back. We could maybe have this in combination with sending provisions for human settlers. For example, materials for 3D printing houses or habitats on Mars, and then bring precious metal or precious whatever we find there, bring it back, or bring back soil samples for more research. So these regular flights can be established earlier than the settlements, but as soon as we have the first settlers, actually before that, we already have to start regular flights because we need to bring some supplies there beforehand. So the people, when they get there, they will have already something to eat and somewhere to live, etc. So it should start definitely sooner than the human exploration.
Okay, thanks. And last question from my side. I mean, definitely 2020 has damaged a lot of economies as well as a lot of projects, a lot of space missions also have been delayed and realigned. As a, I mean, a project manager, as a space industry professional, what do you foresee that what is it that we should look for in 2021? What are the trends to watch out for in 2021 now?
Yeah. So first of all, I don't like to make guesses, so I read reports. And according to the latest reports, the space industry has suffered less than other industries
That is
this
nice.
year. Yes, a couple of missions had to be postponed, like our Mars exploration mission, our analog mission had to be postponed till next year. Again, we don't see it as a big setback. We see it as an opportunity to be even better prepared, to maybe take some additional experiments onto the mission that we would otherwise not have had time for it. So we see the positive sides of it. So it's not cancelled. It just happens a year later. It's still the same thing. And in long term, of course, if we have a pandemic raging all over Earth, it would be nice to be able to live on Mars where there is no pandemic. Yeah. So
Yeah.
again, that's an argument for pushing the space exploration. Although I'm pretty sure we will within no time also manage to spread COVID on Mars. So because some people are behaving very unresponsible here on Earth, and which is a pity.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Indeed, this session was eye-opening. It has definitely reset our interest in space industry. Lalit, are you there? Lalit?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so I would request Lalit to share vote of thanks on behalf of TMI community and all attendees today. Lalit, if you can share vote of thanks to Karin.
Before that, can I just say one thing? I'm so sorry I'm being a complete first
Sure.
bencher. Yes, ma'am, over here. I'm extremely sorry for that.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
But this concept is actually so fascinating for me right now that my brain I'm just thinking about everything I can. And I genuinely want to work on something like this. The concept of developing, the concept of conceptualizing a culture and an interplanetary trade and an interplanetary ecosystem. I genuinely want to participate in something like that. So I want to ask you, how can one do that? Should I just ask you about it? Is there a website? Is there a course?
Yes, there is.
So are you so honest? Now let me rephrase the question. Are you accepting research assistants? How can we be your research assistants? This is what you wanted to ask, right, Manav?
I'm being extremely honest, yes.
Yeah. So you cannot be my research assistant for the simple fact that I don't right now have my research project set up. I'm of course connected to the Austrian Space Forum, and if you go to their website, there is nothing stopping you from being part of the next analog Mars mission. Also in terms of psychology, in terms of culture, yeah, I would just recommend you for now, just connect with me on LinkedIn, and I can send you some more information of where you can actually get involved there is the High Seas mission in Hawaii, and there is a lot of other missions that are open to almost everyone and anyone. So I'm always saying, if there is somebody who really wants to work in space, they can. It's just doing it. So there is a lot of opportunities. I don't own the research. I'm a flight planner for the Austrian space mission, so I'm kind of involved in their research, but I'm not the principal investigator of any experiment. So I can't hire someone because it's not my project. Yeah.
Yeah,
And if I set up in maybe in 1 year or so, if I set up my own research project for culture on Mars, then I can let you know.
Thank you so much. I'll definitely connect with you on LinkedIn, and maybe we can talk further about this.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you
This
so
is
much.
great. Thank you
So
so much.
sorry to interrupt in that sense. I'm so sorry. That was extremely rude, but
No, that is
Oh, it was
absolutely
not. It's fine.
that's absolutely fine. Yeah, over to you, Lalit.
Thank you. Karin, as I mentioned earlier, this was a fantastic session, and I think that's reflected in the responses by all of the attendees. 2 hours have passed, and it feels like it's not enough. I think you've basically uh, opened everybody's eyes to a possibility that they never thought possible. So that uh, you know i- is such a huge thing, because normally we get so bogged down with our mundane lives. We can't think beyond our daily tasks, or our level of innovation is about how can we do our current job a little bit more efficiently. But to be able to imagine colonizing another planet, and to be able to think of a planet like Mars, which is more than 7 months away, which comes close to Earth only once in 15 years. I mean, this is, out of the realm of possibility of, anything that we've considered in the past. So, for you to have been able to dream that and to live your dream, and then to ignite that thought process in all of us, I mean, that is really something that we have to be eternally grateful to you. Thank you so much on behalf of TMI, and on behalf of all of us attendees.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Lalit. And uh, there is one last, not a question, but a request to Karin. If you can share the presentation deck, a couple of people asked me in personal message that if we can get the presentation. So if you can share it, then I would be happy to share it to a wider audience, people who have registered or other members who could not attend your session for the day.
Of course, I can do that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for your active participation this evening. Have a great evening ahead, and have a happy Sunday. Thank you so much. Thanks, Karin, for this excellent session. Indeed, we are grateful to you. Thanks. Now I am stopping the recording. Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for